Okay, wow. That brightness is it's a little much. Whoops. One of these days, if I continue to stream often enough, which is not what I do on the regular, at least not anymore. But anyways, for those of you who are new here, my name is Rich Drezen. I am the cartoonist and creator of Luckyzilla Comics. And one of my recent endeavors is reprinting the first 6 issues. God, that looks awful. Let me see if I can show it on the other camera. One of my recent endeavors is reprinting the first 6 issues of the Luckyzilla comic book. In this 152-page graphic novel collection, you will get those 6 issues and plenty more, because many of the webcomics, which started in 2015 and ended in 2021, some of the earliest ones will be included in this collection and will serve as supplemental material for further collections, such as the very first one. Hang on a second. Alright, there we go. That probably looks a little better. Yeah. Yeah, like right here. This was the very first of the webcomics ever published. And here is a better view of the cover of the collection. So, as I mentioned, oh yeah. Let me get this over here. Hang on a sec. We're gonna get to that in a moment. In the meantime, enjoy the music. Oh, hello. So here we go. Here is the campaign. Here is the campaign, ladies and germs, and gentlemen, and people of all genders, no matter who you are or where you come from. Because we welcome everybody. Here are sample pages, one from each issue. I wrote most of the stories and the strips, some of which are the webcomics, packaged in the form of 3 of these issues. Myself, I had co-writers on 2 of the stories featured therein. It's a decent picture of me, a few decent ones. And it comprises material that was published from 2016 to 2017. Now, how can you contribute? Well, you can contribute without getting a reward should you choose to. That's entirely up to you. However, if you do choose a reward, because many have that have contributed, you can get as minimally as a heartfelt thanks, a personalized digital thank you card, which may not actually match here, but you'll have to back it in order to see what I come up with for you. As I did say, it was personalized. For $5, you can get a contributor listing in the book. And if you can't afford the book, hey, that's fine. At least we will acknowledge you. And in addition to that, you will get the thing above. And you will also get a randomly selected Luckyzilla digital comic. Because I don't want you to feel like you're going away empty-handed. None of these rewards you walk away empty-handed. But, you know, I always feel like, I'm a giving person. The digital half dozen. This will get you Luckyzilla numbers 1 through 6 as digital comics and a digital thank you card. Like the one I mentioned above. And this will get you the first 6 issues as digital comics. It doesn't include the special features. But hey, you know, that is why I highly recommend you get the physical copy of the book. Because it includes the $5 level and, of course, the $1 level rewards. You get your name listed in the book, in the finished book. It'll be on one of the first pages. You can choose to upgrade your pledge or add to a new pledge a celebration of Luckyzilla on DVD, on Blu-ray disc, or a 1-year subscription to the Luckyzilla comic magazine, which is still in publication. And that will get you every single Luckyzilla book that we are publishing this year, from issues 33 to 36. And you might be wondering, wow, I mean, I get the first 6 issues, but then I'm jumping from that to 33 to 36. Allow me to explain. As the title of this episode will indicate, I am a huge proponent of always moving forward. Still, I agree there is a certain importance in acknowledging where you've come from, and where you're going will often kind of spin off of where you came from. Not in every situation, but speaking only about mine, because I don't want to speak for everyone else's experiences, I look back to move forward. Sometimes I don't always look back because, not everything that I look back on is pleasant, as I'm sure some of you may, be able to relate to. But I feel like there is a certain amount of good that came out of these early issues that pushes me forward. Case in point, let me show you real quick. Luckyzilla number 34. Okay, this is the most recent issue that we published. There's a lot going on here, as you can see. And then towards the end, things get pretty intense. I don't know if any of you can read that, but there is a standoff with the police. And it's led by someone who is a part of the police. It is a very intense issue. And just as intense as that, if I can find it, I may not have a copy that's easily handy right now. Oh. Should you choose to explore our work a little bit deeper, Luckyzilla number 31 is probably one of the most intense stories that we published. For the main villain has a terrific breakdown. Over the years, as we've become a lot more engaged in what goes on in the world, we've taken that to heart. While Luckyzilla Collection 1 is incredibly exciting for all new fans of Luckyzilla, once we get over this next 2 weeks and are successfully funded, we are not only going to fill all these orders lickety-split, we are also in the process of building Luckyzilla Collection 2, which will include issues numbers 7 through 12, which is where the series really starts to take a turn in the direction of where we are today. Being inclusive, addressing issues that aren't really talked about enough, and also trying to bring about an understanding between all of us. There's one thing that you see with a lot of superheroes is that they're all trying to do good. And I mean, it's a lot for one person to take that on, especially with a planet full of 8 billion people, or however many people there are in the world now. But the superheroes are kind of a reflection of who we wish to be, who we aspire to be. Just in a more fantastical sense, because, yeah, entertainment sells. So, one of the things I want to show you... That's one of the things I wanted to show you. This is some of the rough material from Luckyzilla number 1. Originally, it was supposed to be published online just like this. 8 panels. Or whatever would fit within this kind of a layout. There would be drawings in pencil or pen on scrap paper. And then what would happen is I would bring them into Adobe Photoshop. This is Adobe Illustrator, by the way. And what I would do is I would draw over the pencil or whatever roughs there were. And then when I was done with all that, I would bring the file into Adobe Illustrator like I have right now. Because with vector art, you can scale it, and you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, without losing clarity. The problem is, now that I did all that work in Photoshop, I'm bringing it into Illustrator, and I'm letting something else handle it. Because Photoshop's brush tools were not the greatest, and having to select everything out with the pen tool and some of the other tools that they had in there just wasn't really doing it for me. So what I would need to do in order to get this vectorized without having to do the same song and dance over again is I would have to I'd have to do an image trace. Now, image trace has evolved a lot since the earliest days of the Lucky comics. But you see that there's something missing right about here. I'll zoom in so you can see it. Yeah, I mean, look at that. But just for argument's sake, I'm going to mess around with the settings a little bit until I can get them to kind of where I want. I also want to ignore the color white. Also want to bring the threshold up because maybe it'll close up that line down here. Because if not, that'll be awesome to have to fix. So I'd be playing around with these controls for a few minutes, depending on how good or how bad the illustrator determined was doable. What made sense to Illustrator? Yeah, that's not going to work. So what I ended up having to do was I would have to go through and just kind of fix the stuff as I saw it. Or fill in some stuff in between if I needed to. Because I didn't know how to draw in Illustrator at this point. This was before I discovered a little tool called the Blob Brush tool, which is what made me want to start drawing in Illustrator almost exclusively. If you've seen my other shows, I use this tool quite frequently. Okay, so now, what we gotta do, now that we've outlined everything, is we're gonna go color it. Now, before I discovered a little trick that I'm gonna show you, I was coloring everything against a certain backdrop. So this way I could see it. Now, how am I going to do that? Well, first I have to convert it to a fill of some kind in order to live paint it. Now, I have all the characters' appropriate colors in a custom-made swatch palette. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to color them. This character that I'm doing right now is Harmony D'Angelo. She is a girlfriend of Bruce Deodato, Detective Bruce Deodato, who is secretly the mighty Luckyzilla. Harmony D'Angelo was created by me when I was in my freshman year of high school, and I was reinventing the Luckyzilla franchise. She's been a part of Luckyzilla ever since, but in differing capacities. At first, she was Bruce Deodato's secretary, but later on, she became his partner. In particular, in the 2007 live-action short film, The Terrible Telebomb. She was seen as his equal, his partner. Bruce Deodato was created right around the same time as Harmony D'Angelo. Become the alter ego of Lucky. Now, having to do this up against this or up against white is a little weird, so let me show you a little something. When I press on a PC Shift, Control, and D, look at what it does. Oh, let me get rid of that. Let me hide that. It gives me a transparent background. This way, I don't have to just keep adding more stuff in order to see, like, behind and make sure I'm not, like, dropping anything out. So I would think, oh yeah, I colored that white area only to remove the backing and realize, oops, I forgot something. And one of the other reasons why I stopped live tracing is no matter how good of a live trace it was, I would inevitably miss things. So that proved to be a little bit more time-consuming than I was willing to allow for myself. Because at the time that I was making Luckyzilla #1, I had been putting out a new webcomic every Monday without fail. I would do multiple strips in a week, to create some kind of a cushion in case I fell behind in coming up with ideas. I wasn't about to do a daily comic strip because that would have been a lot. I have friends who have done a daily or mostly daily strip, and I applaud them greatly for that. But I myself, yeah, that's a lot. So yeah, there's our finish. Unlike Photoshop with the paint bucket tool, to get a result like this, you'd have to kind of fight Photoshop a little bit. At least if you're a novice or a beginner. I mean, some of this coloring could also have been done with the pen tool, but again, that takes a lot of time. Now, I don't need to save this because I don't want to screw anything up. Also, I haven't needed to use that file in 7 years, so... Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink for you a drawing, one of the few penciled pages that we have thus far for Luckyzilla number 35. This is from page 1, panel 3, and I have gotten comfortable using the regular brush tool in Illustrator, which saves me the need of needing to make a ton of vectors, because the more vectors I add, the more it weighs on my system. So the less I can weigh on my system, the better off I think I'm going to be. And the more efficient my workflow will come to be. I have a nasty habit of making faces to myself in the mirror every morning. And some of that comes from my learning disabilities, my neurodiverseness, but some of it also comes from my journey of wanting to be better at something every single day, whether I'm doing it or I'm thinking about doing it. And I start to notice certain things about our faces and our bodies, like when we smile, like look at what my nostril just did. Now I know it sounds ridiculous and I don't want to gross anybody out, but if you study that long enough, you start to realize, yeah, I can draw that. I should draw that, because that's kind of what it looks like when I make that face. And we'll go back to Bruce here. And yeah, his nostril is kind of going up. And of course, the cheeks. Cheeks are very important. I mean, they're part of our face. Just gotta make sure that I don't make his cheeks too fat. He's got very pronounced cheeks and some very pronounced facial features, but I don't want to make it seem like, he's constantly getting stung by a bee or anything. I love my characters, but I'm not a masochist by any stretch of the imagination. The one thing that annoys me about the regular brush tool is the fact that the width of it resets constantly, like when I switch from tool to tool. Inking is the part of the process that I enjoy the most, but it can also be the lengthiest part of the process. Because penciling, I can generally get through penciling an entire Luckyzilla comic, all 20 pages, inside of a month. But the inking can take anywhere from a month to a month and a half. And that's if I'm able to do something for it every single day, which I'm not always able to. And sometimes that can turn into very late nights, which is not always the greatest. And it really starts to wear on your eyesight. The drawings in the earlier books, which I think I can bring up again. Just bear with me. Were a lot looser. In fact, I was inking over sketches that were much looser than what you see in the background, just for reference. This drawing is not terribly loose, but let's go down to panel 6 over here. That's incredibly loose. Now, how do I get these kinds of drawings from something so loose? Well, it's a combination of just making stuff up and making stuff up. I've since learned the ever-increasing importance of anatomy. Study your body. Take figure drawing classes if an art studio offers them in your area. Like, take advantage of the world around you. You know, go to the park and people watch. Just don't be creepy about it. You don't want to get yourself arrested. And for God's sakes, look at your hands. Like, some people criticize the hippies for being like, oh, your body is a work of art, but, you know, the hippies weren't wrong. I think that's plenty acceptable. Although I may look back on this in a few months and be like, why on earth did I draw it that way? gotta get more RAM in this computer. So I'm working with essentially the bare minimum right now. But as an aside, I strongly do not recommend getting computer service from Micro Center. I'll just leave it at that because I want to stay positive. I haven't checked in on Facebook to see if anyone is watching us or what have you. Anyone in the chat have any questions? By all means, feel free to ask. And just so that that we're clear on everything, I have gotten a lot of messages from people claiming to be fundraiser managers. Just so that we're clear, I do not need a campaign manager. I am not looking to utilize a service to promote my Kickstarter. Especially when I have gotten messages from people on my Kickstarter profile that say, oh yeah, I am a fundraiser manager for so-and-so, and meanwhile they haven't backed a single Kickstarter. Now, I know next to nothing about crowdfunding. But that to me sounds like a surefire way to lose money and not meet your campaign goals. And be scammed, of course, because, well, yeah, we don't want it. Hands and feet can be a very interesting experience drawing. I know artists who complain about having to draw hands and feet and that they're the hardest things to draw. And I think just drawing in general can be a lot at times. But that's why, you know, there's not many of us. I mean, there's a lot of artists, don't get me wrong. But not everyone becomes an artist because of one reason or another. Some of it's self-esteem, some of it is, you know, the competition aspect of it, because there is a competition aspect to drawing, to comics, to animation. I would never deny that. I never look at myself as being in competition with someone else, though, because I don't want to take part in any stereotypes. Because taking part in stereotypes does not get my work done. It does not get it seen by the general public. You know, making comics, that's the first step. It's just drawing comics is only one part of the process. The other process is experimenting with the way that you market it. Because, I mean, you do have to market it. I can't tell you how many times I go into a Facebook group and I see posts that are clearly troll posts, which are like, oh yeah, how do I get started in comics, or how do I draw a circle, or something. Now, some of these aren't troll posts. They could be someone who has special needs, and you know, I'm gonna leave that, you know, that open, you know, just to show some kind of show people the benefit of the doubt, and also because I myself teach special needs children how to draw cartoons. You know, and that's a question I get asked a lot. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I mean, ask questions. This, you know, if you have the ability to have someone next to you to help you interpret certain things, you know, lean on them. And if you get made fun of, you know, just hope that the person who's teaching all of you is not one to just join in the hazing and all that. Because, I mean, it's very easy to make fun. It's also just as easy to be encouraging. But if it's a legit troll post that you see online, I mean, I don't know. Pick your battles. I'm looking at a reference here, which I won't show because it's just a reference of the Laserdisc cover for Saturday Night Fever, a movie which, admittedly, I have not seen. And you might be wondering, hey Rich, what was that anatomy thing you were talking about earlier? Like, that doesn't look like the greatest of anatomy. I mean, here's the thing. I'm kind of blurring this because, well, I don't own the rights to the movie. And also, this movie, particularly this object, is not the main focus of the story at large. Just pointing up. And it's supposed to be an impression more than anything else. I enjoy disco music. care what anyone says. Disco's cool. Hey, even country music is cool. Just not that you know, that song that's been making the rounds. Not a fan of that song. I just realized something. Yeah, there we go. Kinda need that. Kinda need that. Oh, wow. I hope the writers and actors strike doesn't go on for too much longer. It's really truly a shame what is going on for writers and artists. And actors. I'm not even talking about, you know, the rich famous people. I'm talking about the people that that are working actors that are lucky to make ends meet. It's not easy. Now what I'm going to do, we get to the end of this lengthy process. So I'm going to expand, and I'm going to use the Pathfinder tool to help us condense the vectors and the gaps and everything. I'm going to go through the image I've just drawn and try to fill in any gaps using the direct select tool, which is very, very handy. Luckyzilla number 35. It's co-written by myself and New York Emmy Award-winning filmmaker and documentarian Kevin Lasani, who I met over a decade ago when he was developing an animated series called The High School Drama Show, which he co-created with our friend Kuna Rex. And as the years have gone by, we have become closer and closer friends, and I was happy to name him my best man at my wedding, which was just under 10 months ago. Now, because I am a stickler for certain details, okay, let's take another look around. Okay, we're about there. We're about ready to start coloring. Any unforeseen discrepancies? Okay. All right. And we're going to expand for a live paint. I'm going to check again to see if we have any questions. Doesn't appear that we do, which is okay. Again, I'm doing this during the afternoon when people are at work. Hey, you know, I'm not oblivious. I also have a lot of programs running, so there may be a slight delay. There's a watermark on here for obvious reasons. I hear people complain about stolen art. I think it's a valid complaint. Although I am going to suggest once and once only, and I don't want any questions about this, when it comes to copyright, the thing that I discourage you from doing is going on social media and asking, oh, what's the right thing to do? Should I post my work first and consider that as it being protected by copyright? You know, I mean, does that constitute copyright? Just any copyright questions you have, do not ask on social media. And I don't want to sound like I'm beating anyone up by saying this. I'm saying you are not going to find that answer on social media. Unless the person, unless you happen to meet a person who is an attorney. So I would suggest very strongly, do not get legal advice from social media. Get legal advice from an attorney. Attorneys are out there. Yes, they are expensive. Some of them are horrendously expensive. But a lawyer will know Any decent lawyer will know what it is that you're looking to do, depending on what stage you're at with your thing. That's not to say don't talk about it. I mean, you can. You can do whatever you want. It's your project. But all I'm going to suggest is, I mean, if you're really unsure of what to do with a legal matter, talk to a lawyer. Don't talk to your friends. Don't talk to your Facebook acquaintances. Talk to a lawyer. That is what they are there for. I mean, there is no fun to be had when you discover someone else is using your character in some unauthorized way. But you can't really do much about it because you don't have a document from the United States Copyright Office that says, hey, this is mine. And I mean, even then, there's other particulars about it. It's listen, talk to a lawyer. There are some lawyers that, you know, will give you some kind of a free consultation, and that might be enough for you. But I'm going to strongly suggest that you take that first step. Now, if you're unsure about copyright, and copyright is something that is it's constantly changing. I mean, look at what Disney does every year. It seems. For the last however many years. Like, dude, come on. Talk to a lawyer. For certain, talk to a lawyer. Don't set yourself up for failure by not consulting with an attorney. I'm not crazy about that color scheme. There we go. That's better. Get to know keyboard shortcuts. They can be very, very helpful. Especially if you take on a very labor-intensive project like comic books. They can prove to be invaluable. Now, a word about the graying. Now, you didn't see Bruce Deodato with graying hair in this version. That's because this version of Bruce Deodato was a little bit younger. Now, Bruce Deodato is 50 years old. He was born in 1972. And that being said, you know, he's a little older than he was when we started the series. And I myself am also getting older. I created Luckyzilla when I was just 10 years old. That was back in 1995. And you could say in some way that I grew up with Lucky. And Lucky matured as a character as I matured as a person. I reached a certain point where I said to myself, you know, I've been doing this for a while. Where am I getting at with this? So then I decided I was going to have Bruce Deodato age just a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to save that real quick. We're going to go over to something else. Just in case there are any hackers watching, I do not wish to expose what's on my computer. Because that's not a good thing to do. Now let's go back to the draw cam. Here we go. Here's our finished drawing. Now let us go back to our Kickstarter page. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Kickstarter. I know I cannot back my own project. Now we're going to mute the music for a second. Okay, and we are going to play the Kickstarter video.
An ace detective and his special ace are tasked to make the world a brighter place. On foot, in flight, and into outer space. Protecting the innocent from those who give chase. In spite of all danger so bitter to taste, for peace and for justice, he's on the case. Creator, artist, and publisher Rich Drezen offers you the first 6 issues of this long-running adventure comic series, all in one volume. Luckyzilla Collection 1. Fun for all ages and families. Pledge today for just $1 and receive our special thanks. Pledge $5 and get your name in the printed book. Pledge $35 and get the book.
Hi, I'm Rich Drezen. I'm the creator of Luckyzilla, and I've been publishing these comics for a very long time. Here, case in point, one of our recent releases, Luckyzilla number 32. But I still keep getting asked about our earlier books and when they're coming back in print. Well, wait no further.
Put your dollars to work, pledge today, and help make this Dog Night dream a reality.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, the video says it all. And again, just as little as $1. We are at our goal, so while that's good, why not go further? There's no reason why not to. Very affordable rewards. We realize that there's a lot of other publishers that are doing variant covers and all sorts of other add-ons. We may do that at some point, but because this is our first Kickstarter, the focus is very much the book. Very much the book. And let's see the book again. This is the focus. Hang on. Here we go. This is the focus. All this right here. So, back to the music now. That saves. I'm gonna get off of there. Also gonna move this over. And let's go to our next window. This is Adobe InDesign, where all of the Luckyzilla comics are laid out and then exported for print. However, InDesign plays a pivotal role in the layout of the character art. Because with this little document right here called a script, I break down each page panel by panel. And then what I do is I go into a 3D modeling program like the one you see here and either create from pre-existing objects or model completely new objects to create the backgrounds in the comics you read. Now, each Luckyzilla comic book since the beginning has been between 16 and 20 pages. Some have been as much as 36. And we're going to take a quick break. I go and use the restroom. Meantime, Okay, so we are back. Whew. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to 3D modeling computer. We're going to take that InDesign document, pardon me, okay. According to what I see in my script, we're going to proceed from there. Right. One of the difficult things here is I have to be looking at this, and I also need so what I have to do is I have to export a panel at the size that I need it. And that requires some math, which isn't always fun for people, but it's necessary in this case. I'm multiplying the dimensions I need. The inches, I'm multiplying the dimensions that I need in each direction, width and height, by 600. So the panel here is 8 inches wide by 2 3/4 inches tall. I'm multiplying that by 600 to give us 600 DPI. Even though the printer is only going to register 300 DPI, it's a good idea to give ourselves something more to work with. Now, okay. So that gives us a panel width of 4,800 pixels by 1,650 pixels. Now this panel was first used, this set was first used in Luckyzilla number 33. But we have use for it in Luckyzilla number 35. And there's reasons why, but, you know, it's a kind of situation where if I told you, I'd have to kill you. No. You can read Luckyzilla number 33 to see why this particular set is in use. I'm going to let that render real quick. So this is what we're ending up with. We want to get that into our Google Drive. And I will be right back. see. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to our InDesign panel. Also going to go over to the Google Drive so that I can grab the asset that we need. Because an empty page, in my eyes, is a very sad page. We want to do something about that. Make it nice and pretty. I get 64 gigs of this in this. If I get 64 gigs of RAM in this PC, it'll be lightning fast. At least I hope so. Because if not, well, there's something to be said about that. Yeah, it is. It is very much not an invalid PNG file. Oh, there we go. Well, that's embarrassing. Yeah, that works. I don't know why that's happening. Should be able to get it in there now. Okay, yeah, that's the problem. We're gonna re-render it and see what's going on. That's the first time I've ever seen something like that happen before. Could be because I selected it from the wrong menu or whatever it was. But just in case, I'm gonna have the alternate. The alternate file. Look, this happens with computers sometimes. It can get very annoying when something doesn't work the way it's supposed to. But consider backup options in case the computer says no. Look, all I had to do was just re-render it, and that's fine. So there we go. That's our first background. Now, let's make this happier. Let's render out some more backgrounds. Now, the reason why I do my sets like this, and rather than drawing the backgrounds, is if I don't like where the character is sitting, or because I haven't done the character art for this yet. I'm still setting up like where the character is going to appear. This gives me a definitive indication. Okay, I kind of want the character to be right about here. Let's say. Let's even make a box. Like, right about here is where I want the character to be. But then, let's say I change my mind and I want to show the character more up close. I can just kind of punch in over here, render that, and the character is going to be, oh, say, somewhere right about here. Or if I don't like either of those things and I want the character to be somewhere right about here. You see what I'm saying? This gives me the flexibility that I not only want, but that I need. I also have in the script checkboxes so that I can mark off what I've done and keep track of, okay, this panel has been rendered. That panel's been rendered. What's next? What do I not have? I also need some mats right now. Let's see. 23, 25. Now, the height of the next panel is staying the same, but the width has changed somewhat. I want to move in somewhere right around here. I look at the script to see what's going on. I see how much the character is saying. This way I allow enough space for a word balloon or two. And of course the character, because that's, yeah. It's a good idea. And sometimes I will make a camera. Not necessarily screwing around in the viewports. In case where I am in the current depth of field just doesn't seem to be working, I can adjust things to make the scene play out the more closer to what it is that I'm intending. You know, if I kind of want to have like an extreme depth of field or something, like, okay, this is like a close-up type of thing. This is a wide shot. This is whatever it happens to be. Now, because we had an issue with the last panel downloading, I want to make sure we don't have the same problem this time. No matter what operating system you use, every computer is ultimately different. And whatever version of whatever software and service packs you have installed is going to determine how well your system functions according to how you want it. Thank you. Finally. I got too many things going right now. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Okay. Now the character is going to be right about here in this panel, and for scale purposes, that's where he is now. For scale purposes, in the next panel, he's probably right about here. That's maybe not precisely to scale, but yeah, that's actually more appropriately to scale. But again, this is subject to change. Like I said. Okay. Now we'll go back over to the 3D. I'm going to check off that, page 12, panel 2 has its background. Now I want something a bit more close up, because this is where we need a reaction. I might even need the camera tool for this. What I typically do before doing the character art is I export these pages with the backgrounds, so I have some reference when I'm doing the penciling on paper of where things are supposed to go. It is very rare that I have started production on a book, at least since, I want to say, about prior to Luckyzilla number 5, anyway, or Luckyzilla number 3. It was one of the last times I went into production without completed backgrounds. But also, I started on some of Luckyzilla number 33 without backgrounds, because there were a number of reasons. I'm not going to get into all of them. But yeah, this is kind of where my train of thought was. Let me get that panel so we can move on. All right, there we go. Not a valid PNG. I wish I knew what the cause of that problem was, but I guess it just needed a re-render, which is okay. That's totally fine. It's a pain in the butt when you come across a problem that you can't immediately recreate and solve. There we go. Only need 2 more panels. Let's see. What I want. Yay. Let's come back over here to InDesign. Now, generally, I don't work exactly like this. I'm working like this, going back and forth, doing a panel at a time, because I want to make sure that every panel, imports properly into the InDesign document, in case I have a repeat of that error message that you saw, which was kind of embarrassing. It wouldn't be the first time that I've seen, InDesign giving me errors for some reason or another, or files getting corrupted from time to time. It just, it's something that can happen. I'm not saying that that's a reason to stay away from working in digital. I mean, work however you want to work. Just understand, there are challenges regardless of what you do. There are always going to be challenges. I think our stream had a little bit of a brain fart. Won't be the first time, won't be the last. Okay, so we've got 4 of the 5 panels that we need for page 12. There are 20 pages total in Luckyzilla number 35. Now what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to open a rather large set. Okay, it's not easy. It's not recent. It's a set with a lot of details. Okay, this, based on research that was conducted by technical consultant Baron Jackson, whom I met in a Laserdisc group. This is an approximation of what a plant manufacturing Laserdiscs might have looked like, with a number of creative liberties taken. There would be stacks of these discs that would be going on to a disc press. It would be stamped, and then it would go over to the mastering department. It's a pretty intense process. This set I modeled completely myself. I didn't use any stock bought materials, which I have in the past and have credited the appropriate sources. This set, I believe it might have been this set that I was constructing on one of the previous episodes of Drezen Draws. Because it's been a while, because I've been doing so many things, I forgot. Yeah, but I mean, we've got a number of opportunities for camera angles. We've got the upstairs. I didn't see any upstairs portions of any Laserdisc packet. I mean, finding videos, finding documentations of Laserdisc manufacturing facilities in general is pretty difficult because it's a very outmoded process. And the machinery that was used to make this stuff probably doesn't exist anymore. So the only way to really go about any kind of reasonable recreation of that is to talk to people who have worked in the manufacturing of Laserdiscs, which has not been easy to do. I mean, I conceived this story about 2.5 years ago, and that's how long it took me to meet somebody who had even the slightest idea of the process. I did find a video on YouTube, which unfortunately is not there anymore, from Pioneer, which described the process very much in depth, and it was great. I should have downloaded that video, but it's since been removed. Yeah, let's have a look inside this beast. Now, it's very simple in appearance. This is also a very old version of the software. So if it were the newer one, it would be showing off more details, but, you know, the software is very expensive. Lights. Love low angles. Low angles are really cool. Sometimes drawing characters from low angles can be interesting. Let me even see what's going on here. How did I get 1913? Bear with me, guys. Oh, yeah. I'm also trying to see, because there are tools in the newer version of the software that would facilitate this, but here I'm doing a lot by eye. Okay, and this is 12. Okay. Have a look at that. It's pretty nifty. So now, I'm going to come back over to InDesign. Okay, we are done here. This way I can save some RAM. Okay. And let's drop in that last panel. Okay, and this, kids, is what a comic book looks like. Pardon me. Pardon the sound. This is what a comic book looks like before it grows up. Now, I want to thank you all for tuning in and for following our journey. Pledge to Luckyzilla Collection 1. It's on Kickstarter. You can find the link either in the description of this video or on luckyzilla.com. It'll be the first thing you see other than a host of other options, but you will see a picture of it that says, hey, Luckyzilla Kickstarter. Yeah, that I could spell out the link for you, but this isn't 1992. So, again, we've got 2 weeks to go. We would appreciate any pledges that you would send our way. This glorious 152-page, full-color, perfect-bound graphic novel. This is Rich Drezen saying, stay Drezen. I don't have any fancy, cool transitions planned, just to fade out. Bye.